What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's me. I'm back. Now, I'm going to say something that need to be said, right? This conversation need to be had to clear everything across the board. I'm going to be talking about percentage, right? 80%, 15%, and 5%. And remember, this is my perspective on this topic. 80%, 15%, 5%, right? Here we go. The 80%, and I'm talking about men. This conversation is going to be about men. Straight us fellas. Conversation will be about men. I'm going to dibble-dabble a little bit with women, but it's mainly about men. 80% of men, women are not checking for. Let me say that again. 80% of men, women are not checking for. And when I'm talking about checking for, I'm talking about in terms of a type of guy that they probably want to marry, right? 15% of men, women would consider to be with. 15% of men, women will consider to be with. 5% of men is what majority of women want. And I'm going to break down and add context to the percentage so you understand what I'm saying. Okay, let's get into it. 80% of men that women are not checking for are just below average men. Below average men, right? They overweight. They don't take care of themselves. They don't make good decisions. They lean on women for advice. They don't know how to take care, as I said, take care of themselves. They are not leaders. They're not good role models for nobody. They just basically lackadaisical. They're lazy. They don't want to do. Basically, is a type of men that's looking for a mother. Is a type of men that will move into a woman's house. Is a type of men that don't have no problem with a woman leading. Is a type of men that don't have no problem with a woman telling them what to do and go half and half in all decision in the house. Is a type of men that have no problem with a woman taking on all the burden, regardless if it's finance, spiritual, mental, whatever the burden is. Those the type of men I'm talking about, right? The type of men that just too involved in their X chromosome, right? Those are the 80% of men on this planet. Now, the 15% of men are a little bit different, right? They might be in shape, but they don't make that much money. They're not a good leader, right? They always got, I would say probably 6 out of the 10 good. So if they're making good money, they're not in shape, right? If they're in shape and making good money, they don't make good leadership decisions. If they make good leadership decisions and they're in shape, they're not pulling in adequate income. If they're pulling in, you know what I'm saying? It's always something lacking. Not saying that everybody's perfect, but there's always something lacking to the point where the woman gonna be like, I don't know if I should mess with him because, you know, that right there kind of a liability on my part, right? And listen, I'm not pondering and I'm not simping. I'm just talking about men, right? Now, the 5% of men are the men that got their shit together. The 5% of men is the men that women actually needs but don't like. The men that women needs but don't like. The man that's a straight shooter is going to tell you what it is. It's got his finance in order. He's working on his mental and his spiritual. It got his physical in order. He's a great leader because he can lead himself. He know how to have a conversation. He's not controlled easily by his emotions. He's balanced out in a good way. He knows his purpose in life. He knows where he's going, right? He don't ponder to women. He don't simp with women. He tell women the truth. He guide women. He help women to help people in general to to bring out the better version of themselves. He stand on objectiveness at all times. He's not a subjective person, right? He don't give a damn about subjective reality. He cares only about objective reality. Those 5% of men, majority of women do not like those men, right? So as I explained before, you got the 80%, the 15%, and the 5%. The 5% is what women actually needs in their life. Is majority of women are attracted to, but they don't like them and they don't want them because those men are going to hold women accountable, right? So what happened is this: when a woman is growing, she goes through, she get the 80% of men hitting on her, getting at her, right? She's attracted to the 5%. Now the 5% is giving her the straight talk. It's telling her the way it is, right? Objective reality. That's what he deals with. She don't like that at all. So what she did, she pulled back to the 15%, because the 15% is not a super simp, but he's the type of man that will, not all the time, but I would say actually like at least 50%, 45% of the time, will try to ponder to a woman to get her to you know, because he's lacking in so many areas. He can't stand on his square the way he's supposed to stand on his square, right? A lot of men out there are trying to be like the 5, but they're actually not. And that's why most men come off as so rude and disrespectful to women, because they don't know what they're doing. They actually don't know what they're doing. They just see certain men move in certain ways and they're trying it and they're failing miserably, and then they get mad and angry because in reality they're actually not the 5%. In reality, most of them are the 80% trying to push their ass over to the 5%. You get what I'm saying? So